Anochili-Killen sends the Marshall Thundering Herd to the Sun Belt quarterfinals. ODU is streaking, and the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns rally in the bottom half of the ninth inning to take down DBU. It's a bonus edition of Locked On Sun Belt.
You are Locked On Sun Belt, your daily podcast on the Sun Belt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sun Belt, your teams every day. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. All right, I prefer the natural light, but the way the sun is shining, it's going to do a line across my face, so I figured I would close the blinds. Okay, two great basketball games, or at least close basketball games last night. We will get to ODU. App State kind of played like App State has played for the last month. They were in control, and their offense stopped. And then the Ragin Cajuns, as I like to say, a come from ahead victory. You can't blow a game any more than they did, and then they came storming back against Dallas Baptist. It has not been a great start to the season for the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns, and a series win against DBU can maybe turn that around. However, let's start off with the Marshall Thundering Herd taking down Georgia State. Good ball game. Marshall does win it. Sometimes I don't think I say the finals. Marshall wins it 79-76. And talk about a tale of two halves. Georgia State was winning this ball game 39-34 at halftime. But I don't know if I would have felt very comfortable knowing that Anochili-Killen had not scored. And I'm not sure I realized that until I heard Matt Stewart say it at the end of the ball game. Anochili-Killen had all 16 points in the second half. In the first half, I mean, I don't know if this is the Georgia State defense or just what it was. He was a grand total of 0 for 3 from the floor. Maybe foul trouble. He did get 2 fouls in the first half. Doesn't say he did play 12 minutes, so it's not like he only played a couple of minutes. He did play 12 of the 20 minutes. But, you know, Georgia State's only up by 5, which is a nice halftime lead. But when, you know, Marshall's basically best player, certainly one of them, has 0 points and you're up 5, you may feel like you're in a little bit of trouble. The other key in this ball game, if you look at the statistics, because you can't figure out how Marshall won this basketball game. Georgia State shot 46% and Marshall shot 36%. Georgia State was 40% from 3. Marshall was 31% from 3. The free throws were basically even. Georgia State 18 out of 27, Marshall 19 out of 24. Rebounds were, Marshall was in charge of that, 47 to 36, but the big spot was the offensive rebound. 21 offensive rebounds for Marshall, 9 offensive rebounds for Georgia State. And in fact, if you break it down even further, you have Nate Martin had 6 offensive rebounds, and Jacob Gibbs had 5 offensive rebounds for Marshall. Those guys almost had more offensive rebounds than Georgia State had on their own. So though Marshall wasn't shooting particularly well, they kept on getting more shots, and they did have a tremendous amount of more shots. Georgia State had 56 shots. Marshall had 73. Marshall doesn't move the ball all that much like that. That's a ridiculous amount of shots, comparably so. Let's see, the turnovers. 17 turnovers were relatively the same, 10 to 8. Points over turnovers were 17 to 11, so that could be a thing. Points in the paint, Georgia State actually had more. Bench points, Georgia State actually had more. I'm trying to figure out how they won this basketball game. And it was Anochili-Killen at the end, and Georgia State went cold at the end. Georgia State finished 1 for their last 7. All right. Hamilton had a huge ball game for Georgia State, 28 points, 9 to 19, also had 6 rebounds. Edwards finished with 15 points, 5 of 12 shooting. and 9 rebounds. Nutter had 19 points and 8 of 13 shooting. And the guys, Matt and Victor calling the game were like, why are they not going to Nutter? They're struggling offensively. He can't miss. And again, sometimes these teams overthink it. They go away from the hot hand. And it seemed like they went away from the hot hand. They had a shot, literally, to win the ballgame. Play-by-play of this, right, was Marshall had the ball and missed. And they got fouled. McMullen got fouled by Dawson. And McMullen misses the free throw, and no timeout is called. They just went right down, and they did a pick and roll. And Anochili-Killen set a pick. Both guys went with the ball. Nobody went with Anochili-Killen, and they just did a lob and an and one, and he hits the lob, and he hits a free throw, and they send Marshall to the quarterfinals. And I like the way these teams don't seem to be panicking. I think we may have seen a little panicking in the next game. But we don't see a lot of panicking per se. Even Texas State losing, they just keep on coming back and coming back and coming back. We saw that over the last few weeks. And, Marshall was losing for most of this ballgame, right? I'm pretty sure they were losing for most of the game. Marshall was ahead 8:39 of the game. That's it. Georgia State was ahead 26-47. Marshall's biggest lead was in the first half, 12-5. Georgia State was ahead, I believe, most of the second half. Let's see if Marshall led in the second half. I don't think they did until the end. Georgia State's ahead all second half until they weren't, right? Oh, Marshall took Marshall did a lead at let me see here. 73. They did take a 73-72 lead, but with a minute 42 to go. So they had a late lead, but Georgia State was ahead for more than 18 minutes in the second half. And Marshall just grinded it out. And, Georgia State had a shot. They certainly had a shot. Got to hit those free throws. Had a shot. And Marshall ran a great play at the end. And this is going to be a great basketball game today. This Marshall-Arkansas State game is going to be a great game. Now, Marshall beat Arkansas State in Huntington. All right, quickly. This may be a long episode because we sort of need to preview this game as well, right? That game, again, was in Huntington. Not sure it was all that close off the top of my head. I could be wrong. Let's check it out. It was 77-72. All right. So that is close score-wise. Let me see where it was. It was a 10-point lead, 4-point lead. I think this was the kind of game where Arkansas State just didn't go away. Terran Todd made a 3-point shot to make it a 3-point game. And then it got to be 6. I don't think they ever had a shot to tie it up. After Terran Todd made it a 3-point game, Dawson made it, had a 3-pointer and went back to 6. Ford made it a 3-point game. Anochili-Killen made a layup. So it was a pretty close game, right? This was not a double-digit ball game. Let's put it that way. So, but this was in Huntington, and Marshall. I think this was the game where I decided, maybe this is where they decided that Marshall could win this thing. So, and remember, Matt Stewart said Marshall's going to have to go through this, but so does Arkansas State. All right. The difference is Marshall has that extra ball game. So Marshall's got to go through Arkansas State and South Alabama, but I could say Arkansas State's got to do the same thing, right? Arkansas State's got to go through Marshall and South Alabama, and Arkansas State didn't beat Marshall this year. So it'll be interesting to see how this game unfolds. Let me see that ball game. See who had a big ball game in this one. Isaiah Nelson did not have a big game. He's playing much better. He only had 9 points, 5 rebounds, was really not in foul trouble. So let's see if he has a big ball game. Kobe Julian was 15 and 10. Joseph Pinion shot well. He had 21 points. Nate Martin had a huge ball game, 18 and 14. Anochili-Killen, 11 and 2. Mingo was 14 points and 10 assists. So this is going to be a great ball game. All right. I am looking forward to this one. I am off. Just we'll say a couple things. These games are later, right? They're 5:30 Central Time today, 6:30 Eastern Time. And I believe, could be wrong, daylight savings time is ending. So we're losing an hour of sleep. So there's a good shot we're going to get up in the morning and do the pod. We'll skip the workout. We'll see what time the game ends, but we'll be up watching the games, but I'm not imagining finishing the pod at midnight, which we did last couple nights ago, and then losing an hour of sleep. So we'll have the pod ready to go for Sunday morning, an extra episode. Don't really have to do one, but we will, because we got to set up the semis, and looking forward to that. All right, long segment. We'll get to the next one. Old Dominion, they are streaking, and App State kind of played like App State. We will do that next as the Monarchs are headed to the Sun Belt quarterfinals. It is a bonus episode of a Locked On Sun Belt, and let me tell you about FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in on the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. I love using FanDuel's live betting feature because it keeps every moment of the game exciting. Whether I'm backing my team for a late-game rally or picking a player to hit a clutch three, I never feel like I missed my chance. Plus, the app is easy to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. All right, ODU taking on App State. Couple things going on in this game. I thought, oddly enough, ODU can make a little run for a couple reasons. They can score. They usually only have a couple guys who can do that, but they can score. App State is offensively challenged. The thing about App State is, and you kind of can go back to Virginia, right? And we saw that one year they can always lose because they're offensively challenged, but then they can win a national championship, all right? And App State has just not played well over the last month. I don't know if they ran out of gas. I don't know what happened. But because they're always in games defensively, their games usually come down to 1 or 2 possessions. And guess what? This came down to 1 or 2 possessions. Old Dominion beats App State 61-56, and it absolutely came down to 1 or 2 possessions. And App State had a shot to win it, and App State was winning this ball game. They were in control of this ball game. They were up by 5, 51-46, with 8:48 left to go. So almost 9 minutes left to go, and they scored 5 points the rest of the way. They got outscored 15-5 the rest of the way. App finished, let's see where it went. on a, let's see here. They went 0 for the last 4 field goals and 1 for their last 12. And they had, I believe, 3 opportunities. And this is where they panicked a little bit. They actually had 3 shots. All right. It was a 1-point game, and Miles Tate missed. Then they got an offensive rebound, and this is where he panicked a little bit and kind of made a bad shot. Then they fouled, and they're still only down 3, and they got an open look. I mean, Miles Tate pump fake, stepped to his right, shot it, and missed. I mean, you can't ask for more than that. He had a wide open 3. But I'm not sure what's happened to App State. So, unlike, it's kind of like the opposite of Texas State, right? That Texas State just kept on coming and coming and coming. And I know Texas State lost, but if you've watched them over the last few weeks against South Alabama and JMU and even ODU the other night, right? They were down, but they just kept on coming and coming and coming. I know they lost, but they never seem to give up. App State seems to be the other way, right? They like stop. They're in control, and then their offense just slows down. I don't know if it's just Miles Tate dominating the basketball or what. He's so good. Let's see the stats. Miles Tate did not have a Miles Tate game. He had a grand total of 7 points, 2 of 12 shooting, 0 of 6 from 3. He struggled. All right, that's going to happen. CJ Huntley had a very good game. 18 points, 12 rebounds, 7 of 15 shooting. Struggled, right? Boburn, only 7 points, 2 of 7 shooting. I mean, the statistics are just not great. Neither team shot it well. I mean, App State was 35%, 18 of 52. But remember, they finished 1 of their last 12. So at one point in time, they were 17 out of 40. Not great, but much better than 18 out of 52. ODU was 22 out of 55. That's 40%. Not great. ODU hit free throws. Doesn't sound like a lot, but they were 10 out of 11. And they hit free throws at the end. Say they're 7 out of 11. They missed some free throws. It could be a different ballgame. 7 out of 11. It could be a different ballgame. And all of a sudden, ODU, again, this will be interesting because ODU has some offense. Troy has the defense. But here's going to be the difference. This is maybe where I was looking for it last night. If Troy was going to get tired, and I don't think, if they did, it didn't show. All right. But this is where we're going to look for it because this is going to be, right, Troy's 1, 2, 3, 4th ball game in 4 days. All right. No off days. This is where I got asked. I went on Mobile Radio yesterday. My guys, Nick and Jarrett, were kind enough to have me on my old station, WNSP. And this is where it's going to be an interesting format, right? Old Dominion has played 4 ball games. Troy has not played in more than a week. Their last ball game was last Friday. And so we'll see. Does Old Dominion get off to a great start like they did against Texas State, right? And had to, was back and forth and eventually won. And then at the end, does Old Dominion get tired? All right. Troy can be offensively challenged, but they always play very good defense. That's a Scott Cross deal. So we'll see. This is where, on the up top is not going to matter, right? Because Marshall is through. They've only played 1 ball game, and Arkansas State hasn't played yet. So no one's going to have a huge advantage up top, right? Even if Marshall gets through, they will have played 2 ball games to South Alabama's none. And they could get 3 if they go all the way to play, 1, 2, 3. They would play 4 to maybe JMU's 2. But here, right, Old Dominion is playing their 4th game in 4 days. Troy hasn't played. And so we'll see if that format is a huge difference. All right, let me see if we got – I want to see see if we break it down a little bit. Offense versus, well, let me go to Sunbelt. I won't be able to bring this up. I don't know if it's on. Let me see the stats. I don't know if we got. Let me go to. I'll go to ESPN first. Saturday. All right, Troy. Let's see. Gamecast. Let me see. A lot of times to do this. Okay, so Troy. Well, how about this one? Troy actually averages more points than ODU. Interesting. Troy averages 73 points. ODU 68. But Troy only gives up 65. ODU gives up 71 and a half. All right. Found that interesting. All right. Did these two teams play? They had to play once this year. Let's see what happened. Did they play? I thought they would have played. I thought they have to play at least once, right? It appears they did not play. I thought you play at least one time. No. Huh. Nope, they did not play. All right. So they have not played. So nothing there. All right. I thought you play each team on your side-ish one time. And all right, your side of the bracket, if you will, and divisions twice, and the other side one time. But it does not appear Troy played ODU. No, not at all. Okay. So they did not play. Okay. It's going to be an interesting deal. And, because the other side, as we mentioned, or as I mentioned, it's kind of chalk. So it's Marshall against Arkansas State, and then you have the other side, ODU, playing fourth game in 4 days. Going to be staying up, and we will have another episode of Lockdown Sunbelt on Sunday, and, of course, all the way through Monday, and then Tuesday as well. I will mention quickly, I did reach out to the SIDs for football. Obviously, people are busy. Baseball, football, and basketball. We'll see what we get. I will not say I didn't get any no's, but I didn't have anybody clamoring to get on either. All right. All right. So let's shift gears. Out of nowhere, kind of honest, I don't watch the basketball. Ragin Cajuns rally in a big way in the 9th inning. Huge win over Dallas Baptist. We will do that after I tell you about Nissan. We're all about the stats because numbers don't lie. And when it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X, the numbers are on an MVP level. With the ability to tow up 8,500 pounds, it can quite literally carry the whole team, plus the gear, wherever you need to go. It's powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine, delivering the strength and performance to handle highways, back roads, and everything in between. And with a room for up to 8 people, the Armada Pro 4X is built for big crews, big adventures, and even big memories. Whether you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the arena, the Armada Pro 4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you go. Take your adventures to new heights in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your teams every day. Going to enjoy a nice day off and then get pumped up for the Sunbelt quarterfinals. Remember, a little bit later, because Saturday, the first one, Marshall and Arkansas State, 5:30 Central Time, and then a half an hour-ish after that ball game, it will be ODU and Troy. All right, switching to the baseball field. It has not been a great start for the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns. They got swept outside in Irvine. They are not hitting at all. Their Friday night starter has been chased, literally. We'll see if he's pitching this weekend. I hope he's okay. Chase Morgan is their All-American. He was All-American last year. He's very good. but has not pitched particularly well this year. And before last night, they had a losing record at 6-7. All right. And the hitting has been the issue. The pitching hasn't been great, but they just have not hit basically at all. And not knowing anything about Dallas Baptist outside of being ranked at the bottom of the top 25, looking at the pitching guys, the Friday night pitcher can throw it because he's got 24 strikeouts and only 5 walks, but he's getting tattooed with almost a 6 ERA. So to me, that means his pitch is straight. All right. Again, I didn't see him throw yesterday. I was watching basketball, kind of keeping up with it. I presume he's throwing heat and it doesn't move. That's how, all right. And he came in giving up 11 earned runs, 10 or 11 runs, 10 were earned. So the defense isn't bad. So he's got almost a 6 ERA. It was like 5.79. All right. And the Cajuns had a lead 3-2. And you can't blow a game any more than they blew it last night. They're up 3-2, top half of the ninth, 2 outs, 0 on. Dylan Toit on the mound, and DBU's got nothing until they did. They rallied with a double, an intentional walk, a hit by pitch, and I think a 2-run single, and then another base hit. Let me see. Yeah, and Dylan Toit got the 2. He struck out the first 2 guys on 3 and then 5 pitches. So 8 pitches in, 2 outs and nobody on, and 2 strikeouts. Then a double on a 1-2 pitch. Then they intentionally walk a batter. And then he hits the first batter. He hits the batter on the first pitch. So that loads the bases. And then you get a single that gives Dallas Baptist the lead. And then on a wild pitch makes it a 5-3 lead. Okay. So it's 5-3 going into the bottom of the ninth. All right. DBU brings in their closer, well, I can tell you who he is. Again, not knowing anything really about either one of these teams. It was Bond. All right. Bond does not fit into his uniform. Bond might weigh 130 pounds. Not a very big kid. Nonetheless, here come the Cajuns. Connor Higgs gets it going with what was graciously ruled a base hit. This ball was hit right to the first baseman, who proceeded to get out of the way of the ball. All right. If we remember Major League and Roger Dorn, and the manager coming up to him, none of this, boop, ole, boop, stuff. And I mean, literally got out of the way of the ball. Twitterless Dan McDonald, saying, what a bad hop it took on a turf. It was not a short. He proceeded to get out of the way of the baseball. If he just stood his ground, it would have hit him in the chest. He moved out of the way. They ruled it a base hit. It should have been a big E3. All right. Nonetheless, that got the inning going. Jose Torres moves Higgs to third base, and there's runners on at first and third. And then you got a slow roller to short, and that brings home Higgs. Let me see who it would have been. Collins, the speedy outfielder, beats out the throw. They thought maybe it was interference to Torres at second base, but no, it looked like clean slide, and they weren't really going to get Collins. It was not a double play ball. When the shortstop has to move to his right and in, it's not a double play ball, right? Compared to, moving to his left towards the bag and toss. No. And then they got another base hit, almost the same spot. Let me see who it was. All these base hits went to the, outside of Higgs, went past the first baseman. It was Ardoin sent a base hit to right center field. That sent Collins to third base. So it's first and third, only one out, and it's a 5-4 ball game. And this is when I turned it on. I did go back and watch the rest of it afterwards. But Luke Yuhaz came up, and he's a big dude. I believe his nickname is Big Donkey, all right, because he's as strong as a donkey. The pitch was down and away, and Luke reached for it. When I tell you I thought this was going to be not a little bloop, but a routine fly ball, it was anything but. This thing almost reached the warning track. I mean, it couldn't have been more than a couple of feet from the warning track. 2 runs score, and the Cajuns win this ball game 6-5. Go watch. If you want to go back and watch it on ESPN Plus, that's how strong Luke Yuhaz is. Because the pitch was done. It was not a bad pitch. This is not like a belt-high fastball sent 400 feet. All right, this pitch was down and away, may have even been off the plate. And how he powered it to the gap beyond the center fielder, I do not know. But 2 runs scored, and you don't want to over-dramatize it. I don't know if the Cajuns save their season, but it would be a big deal to win this series for the Ragin Cajuns. It has not been great so far. I do not know who's pitching. I haven't checked. We'll see if Chase Morgan is going. Here's the thing. DBU's best pitchers are pitching Saturday and, pitching today and Sunday. The guys with like the 0 ERAs are going, today. I don't know why that is. Let me see if we can. I tried to find out. Let me see if we still have the previews up here of this one. Because, let me see here. No, they don't have it. Let me see the box. Let me see. No. Let me see. We have the game. Let me see. We got the game notes. Let's see. They got TBU for the Cajuns. I don't think they have. I'm looking at the Cajuns game notes. They had the pitchers. They don't have the previews of. I don't have the preview anymore. But the game story was up there. The preview of the story was up there earlier. It's not up there anymore. So game info. The preview is gone. They have the recap. I don't know. Let's see if the recap has that. And then read more. It does not say. It does not say who's pitching today. So, anyways, but what I noticed was, that the good pitchers for DBU are going Saturday and Sunday. I don't know if Chase Morgan is banged up. I hope he's okay. Maybe he's going today. Maybe just need an extra day rest. We'll see. But that was a huge ball game for the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns. That is for sure. All right. A little bit later than I wanted it to be, but we'll have another episode on Sunday. Appreciate all the support. Impressed with myself. I did not get emotional and cry in this one. So that was good. Let me get this posted and up, and we'll get a clip out of this later. But thank you so much for tuning in. We'll again have one for Sunday for sure. Don't forget, I'm pretty sure we're going to send the clocks forward, so we are going to lose an hour of sleep, but we do get more daylight. So hashtag always a bright side. Thank you so much for tuning in. You've been watching and listening to Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Enjoy those Sunbelt quarterfinals. We'll have a recap on Sunday.